Today, we're going to talk about the stock Adobe. The stock dropped over $75 today, and because of that, we got to talk about what happened during the earnings report and whether or not this stock is a buy right now. Now, guys, I'm as shocked as you are. This should be a $600 stock right now at all-time highs, but instead, we're sitting back down at $470. This thing just yesterday was at $550 per share, and then when they first reported quarter four earnings yesterday, the stock had this big jump up to $570 before massively pulling down to $500. Now, yesterday during the day, it was flat. And then, like I said, we jumped up to $570, and then they reported quarterly earnings. All was fine and dandy, and then they reported quarter one 2025 and full year 2025 outlooks, and because of that, the stock crashed and pulled back to the downside all the way to this $500 area. And then today, we had the stock yet again get rejected from this 493 area multiple times and fall to the downside all the way down to 470. Now, taking a quick look at the earnings per share, you can see that they reported $4.81, which beat the analyst consensus of $4.66 per share, which is a huge increase at 3.22%. And then on top of that, they reported a quarterly sales beat of $5.61 billion, beating the analyst estimates of $5.5 billion, which is again another increase of 1.27%. It's overall an 11% increase of sales of $5 billion from the same time last year. So they made an extra $5 billion and beat both earnings per share and sales estimates for quarter four. But the problem with all of this is when they reported quarter one 2025 outlook and as well as just the year 2025 full year outlook, you could see here that the shares fell 14% on Thursday, their steepest drop since 2022, because the sales in the fiscal first quarter will be between $5.63 billion and $5.68. That's what Adobe said, but the problem with that is that the analysts on average were expecting the revenue to be at $5.73 billion. Now you're thinking, okay, they were estimated 5.63 to 5.68, it's just a couple off. We're talking in the billions here. This is 5.73 billion compared to 5.68 billion. This is a massive difference when reporting earnings. And because of this, the stock fell. And on top of that, we had multiple price target downgrades with many big name analysts here. If I scroll back up, you can see that a lot of price targets were brought down to that $600 area and even below, brought down to $650 from $700, down to $510, $587, $645, $570, $600, $600. So a lot of price target decreases really put another damper on this stock. And because of that, the stock just plummeted to the downside today and hit $470, which is a price point we haven't seen in a while. Now, zooming out though and taking a look at the bigger picture of this thing, where are we trading at now? Now we're looking at the past here. Let me pull it to the past year for the stock, and you can see that we've had quite the year. I mean, taking a look at where we were before at $433 at a low, we had a nice rally all the way up to $580, but we couldn't hit $600, and now we're basically back to where we started, which is unfortunate to say, but that gives us an opportunity here because of the fact that we've had so many price target downgrades, and on top of that, they had quarter one and full year outlooks not as strong as we were expecting. It put a really big damper on this stock, but we've seen the way the stock moves to the upside in a strong way, and we've now seen the way that it moves from the downside, and we're experiencing this again to the downside. So we're going to play off of this momentum and see what we can do. We're testing this area of support now around this 475 area. If we can hold 475, this is a very clear indication that we're going to see a reversal. You can see that we broke through this red line right here at 500. That support is gone. Another support gone at 493. That is gone. 475 is our last area remaining. If this thing tomorrow opens or starts to fall below 475 and doesn't try and test it and hold again like we saw today, this thing is going to be going down to at least $430, $440. There's a massive gap to the downside that we have to keep an eye on, and because of that, this gap right here, there's nothing holding this stock from not falling down to $430, $440 range. So because of that, we really have to keep an eye on this heading into tomorrow. But I like the odds that looking at the way that it's trading today, we had quite a big pullback. I think you're going to see a strong bounce tomorrow, testing that $500 area. And if we can test the $500 area and try and break through to the upside, but I don't think there's going to be enough strong momentum. I think you're going to see a lot of buyers in the morning push this thing higher, and then I think you're going to see reversal into the afternoon and another big sell-off. And because of that, I just want to be able to watch this stock and see what happens tomorrow morning towards the open. I think that we're definitely going to see some strong momentum to the upside. And then sometime during the day, we're going to see another pullback to the downside where a lot of sellers are going to start flooding the market because there's been so much of a pullback. But we've seen it before with stocks that sell off very, very quickly. You start to see the reversal turn the other way. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to see it back up to $550 tomorrow or on Monday, but I think that you definitely have a stronger chance of some sort of bounce back to at least the $490 to $500 area in the short term, which is going to be great trading opportunities. So for traders out there, tomorrow is the day to watch Adobe. This is quite possibly one of the easiest or most fun trades you're going to have because you're going to see a lot of buyers in here and a lot of sellers, and we're going to see either really rally to the upside or pull back to the downside really hard in the morning tomorrow. There's a lot of volume going on with it. Now, with that being said, you swing traders to long-term investors. Swing traders, I like the odds that we hold 475. If we can hold 475 and continue to bounce, I think you buy some shares down here and play off of that, and we rally up to 493. If we could break out above 493, I think you go into 500. If we could break above 500, sell some of those shares off because this thing's going to take off, but you don't know whether or not it's going to hold above 500 at that point because we've already seen so much selling pressure in the $500 range. So because of that, I think that 470 to 500 is your range. We got to break through this resistance here at 493, and if we can break through it, it turns into support. We sell some shares, and then we continue to move up above 500. We sell some more shares, and then let the rest ride. But I think down here at 470, you're getting a great deal for a short-term trade, and if you're a long-term investor, you get an even a better deal. This is a great opportunity for you long-term investors to pick up some shares at a cheap price if you're looking long-term. I think that yes, Q1 and full year 2025 outlook wasn't as strong as they were expecting, but this is still one of the only names out there that if you want to get into the creative content, video editing, photo editing type of space, this is the name to get. There's obviously competitors out there, but the way that this stock trades is very, very strong to the upside and downside. You see the way that it looks over the past just year and a half alone. The stock itself, or actually this is the past 2 years, we've seen the swings to the upside and downside in massive ways. This jump here from 369 all the way down to 289, and then you've seen rallies up here from 338, and several weeks later you see it up above 500. Like, this is the type of stock you want to be able to trade, but also you want to invest into, because in the long term you're going to be making a profit because of the fact that you did your due diligence and you know this is a legitimately good company. Now, we've seen this stock all the way up at $700 before, and I really thought that this was our next chance where we're going to get that push up to the $600 area and try and test this 640 eventually, but I guess now is not our time. I think we had a little bit of a setback here. Moving forward, I think that we got to be able to trade this thing off of these support and resistance levels, and on top of that, just put it into your account for your long-term investment. If you're looking to buy into it, now is not a bad time to pick up some shares. You had a massive sell-off of 13% to the downside, a $75 down day. How could you not look to potentially add some shares to start a position? If it falls more, perfect. Add more shares. Continue to add more on its way down until you get that perfect amount of shares that you want in your portfolio for then it to turn around and you start to rally and make money off of those shares. So guys, let me know in the comments down below what you guys think about the stock Adobe and what your plans are moving forward with it. Let me know what you guys thought about the drop today if you're going to be jumping into the stock. And as always, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video.